Hi guys, I hope you're well. I'm Josh, and today I'm going to be reviewing Electric Dreams by Philip K. Dick. If you notice any difference with the quality of the camera or anything, basically I just had loads of problems using my regular camera and I was getting sick of it, and in the end I just wanted to get this video out, so I'm filming this on my laptop camera. Quality may improve in the future, or if this goes fine we may just stick with this. So Electric Dreams is a short story collection of science fiction stories by the acclaimed science fiction author Philip K. Dick, who you may know from a lot of his other adapted works. He wrote The Man in the High Castle, which was later adapted to a TV series, and he also wrote Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which became the basis of the movie Blade Runner. In 2017, Channel 4 and Amazon Prime Video took 10 of Philip K. Dick's short stories and adapted them for a TV series. This was at the peak of Black Mirror popularity, so it made sense that they wanted their own show with disconnected, dark science fiction stories, and this was a perfect way to go with that. Later, in 2017, they released this book, which essentially was taking the stories that were adapted for the TV series and showing you the original source material. There are 10 stories here, and they also include a foreword by each of the directors who directed the particular episode that was adapted, talking about why they chose it, what they liked about it, and then also what they changed when they made their own episode. It's good coffee. So reviewing this is going to be slightly different for a few reasons, different to my usual reviews. The first is just the format. The fact that this is a short story collection means that I can't give you a plot because there are lots of different plots, but also his stories are so well written they all have such a killer ending that due to the length, really, if I was to tell you too much, I would be giving them away. I will try and pick out some of my favourites and just give you a kind of summary that doesn't spoil too much and hopefully give you an idea of whether this book would be for you. Personally, I loved it. I read one story a day. I could have quite easily devoured it in a single sitting, but I wanted to take my time with it and appreciate each story in its own right. The big thing that stands out to me, and I've been trying to find the right way to say this, and I think the correct word is generous. Okay, these stories are generous. These are science fiction stories set in the future, and what Dick does with these stories is that every story feels as though it has the world building and planning and thought that would go into a novel, okay? But he puts it into a short story. As an author myself, I think that's amazing and so commendable and something that I want to try and do myself, because each story takes you about 10 minutes to read, but he's clearly put the effort in to think about when in the future this is, where this is, if it's in space or another planet or whatever, how society lives with this new technology, and then craft a really killer plot for every story. Each story has this really cool setup, and as I've said before, the endings are always really powerful. He ends every story with a punch that really stays with you. And what makes him a very, very good short story writer, and this is something I've taken myself, and if you're a writer, you're a short story writer, I think there's a lot to be learned here, because obviously the main restriction with writing a short story is the word count. It is the length. You can't spend 100, 200, 300 pages describing this big world, even though he has created it and it is in his head. And what I found so powerful is he doesn't spend time with an introduction. He doesn't spend time explaining the world to you. A lot of more amateur writers might spend several paragraphs, maybe the first page, explaining this world, where we're at, getting you caught up so you understand the story, worrying that the reader wouldn't understand it. But Philip K. Dick doesn't do that. He gets you straight into the action straight away and very masterfully explains the world as you go, so you never feel confused, or if you do, he wants you to. He is always in control, and he always knows what he's doing to you. So if you feel confused, you're meant to, and it will be revealed at the right time in the most powerful way. Otherwise, everything just comes across very seemingly effortlessly. And there's definitely a lot I want to take from this. I want to take some of my favourite stories, study them, and I definitely want to go away and read more, because I never realised this. He's known as a novelist. In my research for this, I found that he's written hundreds and hundreds of short stories, and obviously these are just 10 of them, so I'm definitely going to go away and read more. And I find the plots very interesting because when I look at his novels, there isn't as much plot to them. And I don't mean that as a criticism, because I love his work. I love Dick. For example, Man in the High Castle, if you look at the adaptation, they changed a lot and it makes sense. And I think both are great. I think the book's great. I think the TV show's great. But they had to change it slightly to make it this kind of political thriller, and lots of people die and and get arrested and stuff like this. And in the book Man in the High Castle, that doesn't happen. He essentially creates the world and he just lets the characters explore it. It's very much a slice of life, and you see how this world is, and he's more or less showing off the world he's created. But his short stories surprisingly go the entire other way. They still have that world building to them, they have that richness, but he just does it through telling you a story. Okay, so let's talk about some of the individual stories, shall we? So the first one that stood out to me, and this is because I remembered it immediately from the TV show, is a story in which an elderly woman hires the crew of this spaceship to take her to Earth, okay? And here's the thing, you're never told it, but you get from that plot, okay, so we're in the future, mankind, humanity, doesn't live on Earth anymore, and when the characters then talk about it, they actually reveal they don't believe Earth exists, so this is clearly very, very far in the future, and they believe that Earth is a myth or a legend, and the plot consists of them essentially taking this woman's money. They plan to take advantage of her and essentially charge her the money, fly around space for a bit, maybe find a planet that might resemble Earth, and then drop her off back home. As you can imagine, things don't go to plan and other things come up. And this was such a, I've talked about how the world building is revealed, but it feels like an almost kind of spiritual story, especially, when you imagine this future where we're disconnected from the planet we come from and so on. And it just makes you think about where the future will go, what we know about our past, and that's what great science fiction should do. The second one I'm going to mention very briefly, and because I don't want to tell you anymore. A guy walks into town and he sees a man hanging by the neck from a rope in the middle of the town, and he's freaked out by this, naturally, but no one else acknowledges that they can see it. And I'm not going to tell you any more than that, because that story is a brilliant psychological thriller. And the third one I want to talk about, very relevant to now, but definitely relevant to the time that Philip K. Dick was writing during the Cold War, is about a society that is perpetually worried that some foreign state is going to drop a nuclear weapon on them at any moment. And it uses that, but applies it to consumerism. And essentially, this is a society where this is the all-encompassing obsession. Okay, this is all people do is talk about when the bomb is going to drop, what they're going to do. Schools only teach subjects relevant to this. They teach foraging and hunting and building shelters and things like this. And everybody has their own bomb shelter, but they are treated like cars or household appliances or video game consoles, where every year it becomes obsolete and you have to buy the new one. So you buy the best new bomb shelter that has all these features and power and energy and heat and all these kinds of things, and you know, the reliability that it's not going to break down and all this kind of stuff. And then next year that one's completely obsolete and there's a new one out and you have to buy that one. And the story is around a young boy who is very worried because basically his father refuses to buy one. And when he confronts him about this, his father says that it's a load of rubbish, the bomb is never going to drop, that you know, it's just a marketing ploy and they just want to get you to spend money, and he refuses to do so. In natural Philip K. Dick fashion, there is certainly more to the story. There is more from the society's perspective, there is more from the boy's perspective, there is more from the father's perspective, and the fact that he can tell this in so few words, I think is masterful. I have no other word for it. It's masterful, and it's definitely a series that I, as an author, want to study because I write a lot of short stories, and I think this is a perfect example of someone doing it at the top level, and there's certainly a lot to learn from it. So, I'm sure it's no surprise for me to say, yes, I absolutely recommend that you read Electric Dreams by Philip K. Dick. If you haven't seen the TV show, go check that out. If you've got 4 on demand or Amazon Prime Video, you should be able to watch it there. But that was an excellent TV show. And if you like that at all, you definitely like the book, and vice versa. Personally, I love this, and I'm now going to go away and find more Philip K. Dick books. I'm definitely going to read his novels, but I'm particularly interested at the moment at just going and getting loads of short story collections, because I'm sure there must be one somewhere. There must be a collected works or something like that. Okay, guys, thank you for watching this. It's been over a year, possibly even 2 years since I did this. My main output was during lockdown, so it's really good to be back into this, even though I had some technical issues, but I didn't want to let that stop me, and I just wanted to get into filming it. So thank you very much of the people who've watched my videos during my absence, my new subscribers. I hope you're not disappointed, and I hope you're pleased to see a new video come out, and I certainly plan to bring out more in the future. So if you like this, you know the stuff YouTubers say. Hit like, subscribe, give a comment. If you read the book, let me know what you thought. And if you have any books like this that you think I would enjoy, certainly recommend them. So, I'll see you next time. Cheers. Okay, guys, thank you for watching this. It's been over a year, possibly even 2 years since I did this. My main output was during lockdown, so it's really good to be back into this, even though I had some technical issues, but I didn't want to let that stop me, and I just wanted to get into filming it. So thank you very much of the people who've watched my videos during my absence, my new subscribers. I hope you're not disappointed. And I hope you're pleased to see a new video come out, and I certainly plan to bring out more in the future. So if you like this, you know the stuff YouTubers say. Hit like, subscribe, give a comment. If you read the book, let me know what you thought. And if you have any books like this that you think I would enjoy, certainly recommend them. So I'll see you next time. Cheers.